Now we're joined by USF head men's basketball coach Chris Johnson, and you know what? Not a bad weekend for you, Coach. 2 wins at home and getting rolling again.
Yeah, we had a good weekend. There's no doubt. You know, anytime you can start off Christmas break with 4 straight games at home and win all of them, you got to be happy with that. You know, Thursday night was a little easier than Saturday night, but for the most part, our team stuck together. You know, we played really well Thursday, not so great Saturday, but found a way to win 2 games. And at the end of the day, that's what you're trying to do. And you know, to come all the way back from being 1-6 to now being 7-7, I'm really proud of where our team's come.
Coach, you talk to people and you watch the team play, and it just seems like a different team than you started the season with. And I think, as you kind of alluded to there, what has really changed to win 6 of your last 7 games and be back at 500?
Well, a couple different things. You know, the schedule hasn't been the same, quite honestly. But more than anything, it's our team has done a better job of just growing up. You know, being more mature. You know, we were so young at the beginning of the year. Quite honestly, we were lucky to have 1 or 2 guys that understood our offense or our defensive schemes on the floor at the beginning of the year. Now, you know, for the most part, everybody has an idea of what we're trying to do, and that just came with practice time. You know, we played 5 games in the first week of the season, 3 in the second week, and then we only played a game a week from then on out. Well, we got better because we got to practice 5 or 6 days in between each game instead of trying to fix things on the chalkboard at halftime. Right. You know, which doesn't work real well when the guys that you're talking to don't clearly understand what you're trying to do quite yet. And so, you know, hopefully, you know, we've got that behind us and we can just start adding on and getting better. We're far from where we need to be, but at least now we have a base of who we are as a program where, you know, my last 3 teams that we've had here before this year, we're all older guys or guys that have had enough guys that have been in the program. This year, basically, we had 3 guys that got many minutes last year, and so everybody was new. So it was going to take some time. As a coach, you never wanted to take that much time. As a player, you're even less patient. And so we knew there was going to be some struggles at times, and it's nice to see the guys start to see the fruits of their labors. You know, good practices lead to winning games, and they're starting to realize that.
Coach, this is something we talked about with Coach Trapphagen a little bit. But as you go throughout a season and you're installing your offense and guys are picking up the system, are you continually adding more to your offense and defense throughout the year, more things they have to learn? Or is that something that you just tweak a few things throughout the course of the year?
Well, you know, I looked at AJ when you were asking me that question. He kind of smiled because we put more stuff in today. What he doesn't realize is we got about half our playbook in of what we have normally about this time of year. Just because when we got into that funk, we didn't add anything for like a month. Right. We just really came in and tried to get the basics down, and now we're starting to add the tweaks and the counters and all those kind of things. And but at the end of the day, those the X's and O's aren't what win. It's how hard our guys are playing and what our basic fundamentals of our program are. And we didn't have those down, so worrying about what kind of ball screen we're going to run or what kind of post-up play we're going to run really had no effect. Now we're to the point where those things can help us win and where they couldn't before.
Is what's happening now with this team, a good winning streak, undefeated at home, is that come from them getting comfortable with that offense, being able to play loose and fast and not worry so much about, am I in the right spot or am I making the right ball screen? Does that come into play, do you think?
Yeah, and it's on both sides. You know, at the beginning of the year we couldn't score and we struggled to stop people. That's a bad combination. Right. You know, now I feel like we're scoring the ball better, obviously, and we're holding teams, you know, I think up until Saturday, the last 5 or 6 games, no one was getting out of the 60s against us, and that gives you a chance to win every night, and that's all we really ask. It's really hard to win a college basketball game. I mean, we say that to our kids all the time. You know, it doesn't matter what level, whether you're playing Wyoming or you're playing Crown or Morris or Valley City or Augie, it doesn't matter. Everyone's trying to win. Everyone's playing hard. Everyone's preparing the right way. And so it's really hard. So the nights where you do everything right, like we did on Thursday night, and you win by 44, that still was hard. Yeah. You know, everybody looks at it and says, well, they must not be very good. Well, we did a lot of really good things. We shot 50% from the three-point line. We handled them on the glass. We did everything. We didn't turn it over. We passed the ball, you know, all those things. And then Saturday we didn't do quite as many things well, and we had to get a big shot from Skyler with 1 second left to win, but both of them were hard to do.
Do you get the guys, do you try and get them to focus more as they kind of had that swoon on just executing their things as opposed to necessarily stopping the other team? Just do your things right and good things will happen for you?
Yeah, you know, on both sides. We quit worrying about what the other teams were doing offensively and just worried about what are we lacking defensively right now? And that's exactly what you're asking. So the answer is yes. Same thing on offense. I don't care how they're going to guard it. This is what we're going to try to get accomplished. And now we can focus a little more on both, where you're helping the team. You know, AJ will laugh when he hears this, but at the beginning of the year I was complaining at him, you guys won't even let me help you, because we weren't far enough along to let me help them through scouts and through, you know, whatever our assistants were doing when they're the best scout guys there is, in my opinion. And they weren't following those things because they didn't really know how. And now they do, and so it's, you know, everybody, it's easier when you win. Everybody's in a better mood, everybody practices a little bit harder, coach is a little easier to deal with. You know, I mean, winning is fun, obviously, but there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes.
Help me to help you, did you give him that one?
Well, not quite as whiny as the help me help you, but inwardly it was just as whiny.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Coach, we got to talk a little bit before the break in our open just about how this team has improved. The one question I wanted to ask you, what do you think the turning point really was for this team? Was it that Wyoming game where you went there and were able to slug it out with a D1 opponent, or did it come before that?
I think it came probably up in Valley City. It started, you know, when we beat Crown, no disrespect to them, but I mean, we held them to 30 points. Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered how we played. We probably could have found a way to win that game. But Valley City, we went up and had the same problems, turned it over 26 times. But we had a different edge to us, a different competitiveness to us, and we found a way to win. And then we had a great week of practice leading up to Wyoming, played well out there, came back from break, and I was really happy with the way the guys came back from break. And then, you know, to win 2 games then and then 2 more now, I mean, it's kind of snowballed from there, but it really started probably the week of practice in between Crown and Valley City. You could see, hey, we're finally starting to figure some of this stuff out. And they've done a good job of trying to keep the momentum and not being satisfied with, you know, hey, we've won 6 out of 7 and we're better now, so we can relax. They understand. I mean, I fully believe we could win every game the rest of the year. We could lose every game the rest of the year. There's just not much margin for error with this team. Or, you know, we're really comparable to everybody we play from here on out. They're all in the same transition phase and all that. So, you know, if I had to put a finger on it, it'd probably be them, but there wasn't a distinguishing, like, one moment where, like, oh, there it was. It was just kind of a week or 2 of really good practices and then putting good performances out on the floor and then gaining confidence.
Given the amount of success that you've had here in your time at USF, and people talk about how winning's an attitude and kids know when it's winning time, is that something that you've seen these kids adopt as the season's gone on, from the coaching staff and from the couple guys who've been there before and seen a lot of wins?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's started to. I think, quite honestly, it hurt us at the beginning of the year. Our older guys expected, well, we win 25 games every year, so that's just what's going to happen. Right. Our new guys, part of the reason they came here, you know, was because we've won. And so when both of those groups aren't seeing wins at the beginning of the year, they're both questioning. And not questioning their coaches, not questioning their teammates, but just you're unsure. Like, well, this is not normal. And so for them to get kind of that winning attitude back and the expectations of every time we go out on the floor we expect to win, that was nice to see. But that's the whole chicken or the egg. You got to win games to gain that, and we finally have done that.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this game you had against University of Minnesota Morris in the Stewart Center back after the break. Well, I guess you had a couple games before that. But a D3 team coming down and started out, they got a point, and then you guys went on a big run and never really looked back and got a chance to get some guys who maybe wouldn't get a bunch of minutes in there. You had 5 guys scoring double figures. Just talk about that game a little bit and what you expected and what you saw from the team.
Well, the thing that I'm most proud of in a game like that is we came out, I think we got up 23-4 or something like that, is our guys, and we preach it, you know, we're not playing the scoreboard, let's try to improve, let's work on it no matter who's on the floor. And our guys have taken those games that, you know, we have never taken a game lightly this year. We've come out and handled our business the way we need to. And I was very proud of that. You know, we had a lot of guys play well. AJ being one of them, I thought it was his best overall game, and he continued that against Valley City. And Brett McNeil played well off the bench, so Jid did some nice things. We had everybody contributed, and the problem was we only have 12 healthy guys, and so we ended up having to play some of those guys, like AJ had to play the whole second half for the most part because we just didn't have a whole lot of healthy bodies. But you love the nights where everyone gets to feel the success, because what people don't see when they come to games is whether you're the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th man, those guys bust their tail every day in practice. And for them to get to go out during the game and have some success and have their teammates cheer them on instead of vice versa,
right.
I mean, that's always a sweet feeling as a coach. And it also, it always brings your team up, because everybody has a good time when that's going on. And for the most part, we played well defensively. We held them under 60. We shot the ball well. We ran more than we have with this team. And just a lot of positive things came out of that night.
Shot the ball really well, which is something that has been getting better in the last few games, really. And this was kind of the breakout game. Shot 58%, I believe, for the game, or close to it. You shot 45.5%, hit 10 3-pointers, which you talked about. We talked about last week, and you said that's not really something that had been the identity of this team. But do you know what the identity of your team is right now? Is it just...
Oh yeah, I think, at the beginning of the year I told everybody this is a better shooting team than we had shot the ball, and I really believe that. And we've started to prove that lately. But we're an inside-out team. I mean, we're going to work through Skylar and James and Dave and BK on the post, and obviously you've got, everybody's got a different role. AJ does a great job of setting guys like Derek and Keith up for their jump shots, and the one thing that we don't have is a slashing, athletic playmaking guy in the middle of the paint, as much as we've had in the past. We have guys that are capable. AJ can do that, Derek can do it at times, but so we've had to be a little bit better with our execution and our offense. But we're an inside-out team. Our bigs on the offensive end have carried us, and I say that not by scoring more points, but either we go into them and they get great looks, or they're creating open shots for our jump shooters, because people are having to double down on those guys. And so I'm really proud of how our guys have figured that out pretty much without us having to tell them that. They figured it out on their own. Now we remind them once in a while and we get a little jump shot happy, but there's no doubt we finally have an identity. At the beginning of the year we didn't, because I didn't even know who to play at the beginning of the year, let alone what we were about. And so we finally have figured that out and narrowed it down a little bit, and kind of have taken off since we've done that.
We're speaking with USF head men's basketball coach Chris Johnson here on the USF Coaches Show. Coach, one of the guys who's really started to progress, and as the team's gone, is Derek Brown. 2 20-point performances in a row now, and really playing well. Not turned the ball over quite as much in the last few games.
Well, not till today's practice, but we won't talk about that. Go ahead.
We'll stay off that one for now. But just talk about the growth that he's had and what that's meant to get a guy in his position playing the point. Just some experience and some growth there in the game.
Well, he plays a little bit at the point for us. AJ's our point guard.
Right. Yeah.
But AJ's coming off the bench because our team fits better rotationally when we sub. He didn't do anything, to go back or forth, and Keith didn't really do it. We've had our main 7-8 guys, but our team just, when we sub, is fit better together that way. But Derek, he's shown flashes of, over the last couple weeks, and I say this with this is the utmost compliment. He's shown flashes of Matt Malloy, of being feisty and being able to put the ball on the floor and score at the rim and not just be a jump shooter. And I think that what happened was Derek learned a lot from Matt last year about how to pick his spots, where Matt was really successful. And Matt and Derek are very different players, but you can see how Derek has picked some of those things up, along with the fact of being a tremendous shooter of the basketball. Now his stats don't say that. He shoots the ball as good as anybody, and he's done that over the last couple weeks, and he has really toned down his turnovers over the last month, probably since the Wyoming game, and until today in practice, because if he's listening, we got to get that figured out. But he's done a nice job, and he's becoming that second scoring option for us, and that's a good thing, because we needed that.